The African wild dog is considered to be Africa's most efficient and successful hunter. With a population of only around 6,500 individuals, or 660 packs, it is also Southern Africa's most rare large carnivore. However, organizations like the African Wildlife Conservation Fund, AWCF, were on a mission to guarantee the survival of this inspiring species. Through their efforts, these dogs, once verging on the brink of local extinction, are making a comeback.
It's an incredible experience, something I'll never forget.
Wow, this is so special. So we've arrived at the den.
It's early morning, and Jess and Rosemary have been called to the south of the Conservancy to dart and remove a snare from a well-known resident baboon. Luckily, the baboon has been coaxed into an enclosure, making it manageable to dart this highly intelligent species.
So we're just, there's a baboon very, very badly injured by a snare. So we're just gonna see if we can dart it and take the snare off. The guys have managed to enclose it in a small garage area with wire mesh around, which is ideal because it's very, very difficult to free dart baboons and not very safe because if they book off a tree or something, it can be a problem. So this is a really good situation, but I've never darted baboon before. And I'm not quite sure how it's going to work, but the injury is really bad, so hopefully we can at least do something to help it. Okay, that's one. So darting a baboon is very different to anything we've done before. They just react very differently. There's different combinations of drugs, or at least dosages. Obviously, being a primate, the disease transmission issue is a bit more possible or likely than other animals, so we'll obviously be wearing gloves. I think that we're just a little bit nervous because we don't know how that's going to react. I'm not sure. I'm just going to have to look. Hi. You don't mind me being here, do you?
No, he's very laid back. Okay, it's all right. Yogi, fine. All right, my boy.
All right, Yogi. Well done, boy.
Thank you, Rex. All right, Yogi. It's all right.
Okay, let's just get a blindfold on.
Tell me what you want.
Yeah.
Temperature?
No, it's fine here. It's cool here. Can you get the dot out? Thanks. What we need is this fresh tissue so it can heal itself, because this necrotic tissue won't. Just keep spraying a bit in there. Okay.
The depth is still pretty much the same.
The wound doesn't look too bad. It hasn't, I mean, it's pretty horrific, but it hasn't cut through any, it hasn't cut too deep, it hasn't cut into anywhere that's going to cause a problem, so he should heal just fine once we've cleaned things up and given him some antibiotics and cleaned this wound nicely. Okay, I think it's...
The wound is thoroughly cleaned and treated, so it does not get infected once the baboon is released back into the wild.
You're going to be the laughing stock of your friends, Mr. Yogi. If he's going to wake up, he doesn't need the reversal. If he stays down, I'll come back in and give it to him. But let's all move out. So leave the blindfold on. Just leave him. Just do it quickly. Well done, and come out. As soon as his eyes are open, come out. Yeah, well done. It's recovering nicely. I mean,
So
as far
this
as
is
it
your
goes.
first baboon ride, right? Hey, big boy. All right, Yogi. Must be like a hell of a hangover.
Yeah, but it's good if he knows you and you're familiar to him.
Yogi. All right, my boy.
Oh, well done. That's nice. Good recovery.
Stretch it out, stretch it out.
A bit wobbly still with go straight to food.
Straight to food, that's cool.
What a
That
good
is really
sign. Oh my God, what a perfect
What a
recovery.
biscuit, baby.
Yeah, so that actually went a whole lot better than we could have hoped for. Actually, like I said, first time we've ever done baboons, didn't really know what to expect, weren't quite sure that we were doing things right, but the dart went in really nicely and he went down fairly quickly. We managed to get the snare off. Here it is, evil thing. Fortunately, the wound isn't too bad, which is really nice to see because it's horrible to put an animal down and then realize it's actually beyond your help. So all it needed was a bit of cleaning the wound and then he started moving a bit, so we just pulled back and gave him the space to recover. Jess gave him the reversal, and he's now up, and he actually had a fantastic recovery. He just, sort of slowly got out.
Very human, eh?
Yeah, very human. Did you see him? He was like, oh, I've got a headache. And then came over and started eating, which is about as good as you get. So it seems like, you'll keep an eye on him, but it seems like it all went really well.
Yogi is fit and fine. An all-round success for everyone involved. Back up in the north of the Save Valley, Neil and Kane are tracking the Splinters pack on their morning hunt. Something has captured the pack's attention, and they move in to investigate. It's not prey, but another rare carnivore. 3, in fact. The dogs are definitely intrigued, as are the cheetah. Both species, ranking at the bottom of the large carnivore pecking order, are an equal match, and little aggression is shown to one another in this chance meeting.
Wow, okay, another phenomenal sighting this morning with the dogs. We're with Splinters Pack hunting this morning, and we came across, unbelievably, a group of at least 3 cheetah. But what was more interesting was watching the sort of the two parties coming together to sort of colliding. Both cheetah and wild dog are both very low-ranked animals in the pecking order of large carnivores. They're right at the bottom. So it was very interesting to watch what would happen. I mean, cheetah are slightly bigger, have the advantage of speed on their side. The dogs obviously have the strength in numbers, but the whole affair was rather civil. They kind of, got in each other's faces a little bit. There was a bit of snarling and growling and spitting, but in the end, both parties respected each other. They kind of, gauged each other up. The dogs went their way, and the cheetahs went theirs. But what an incredible sighting! There's, not many people are fortunate enough to see that, so we think we're very lucky this morning. The dogs are now resting off in the Mopani now, probably going to spend the rest of the day there, but we'll come back this evening, join them on the hunt, and who knows what we'll run into next.
A once-in-a-lifetime sighting, witnessing Southern Africa's two most rare large carnivores in the same place at the same time. The next morning, Jess heads out to visit the Splinters den in the hope of seeing the new pups out and about. There is much activity at the den, with pups playing and adults socializing after returning from an early hunt.
Okay, so this morning we've come out to Splinter's den, and it's really exciting for me because it's the first time that I'm back here in the new year and after being away for a bit over December. And it's fantastic because the puppies are sort of 2 months and a bit, and they are at the stage where they're big and they're playing, so it's fantastic for me to come and see them and see how much they've grown. And we've still got 10 healthy puppies, and what's really nice to see is they've got beautiful patterns. From when they're very little, they only have the black and white, and as the puppies start to get a little bit older, they start developing the tan shades and mixes. So these puppies are really beautifully marked, and I know what the alpha male Batman looks like, and he's a bit of a dull dud. So if I was him, I'd be asking a few questions, especially considering that this is such a very, it's a very weird time of the year for the dogs to be denning. I think, as we've sort of said before, they typically den for 3 months in the middle of the year, so sometime between May to August. And this pack started denning again in December, so just before the end of last year. And it's just really, really bizarre, and it's the first time for the project for this to happen. And as far as we can tell, we still need to do some more research and look into it, but speaking to colleagues and reading up on it thus far, it's the first time that a lot of people have heard of this happening. So it's a really interesting event for us. It's a really interesting thing ecologically and in terms of African wild dogs and their breeding behavior. So as we say, we're going to be watching intently. We're really monitoring it well, trying to collect as much data as we can, and then we'll just see how it goes and see how well they fare, and especially see what happens when the normal denning season comes up this year, which this pack is normally one of our earliest denning packs. So they would normally start denning in May already again. So we'll see what happens. One of the other things that I spotted when we came in here was that there are 1 or 2. So most of the adults are centered around the den with the puppies, but there are 1 or 2 that are just a little bit further out. And you can obviously see that this vegetation for the den is quite thick. The Mopani's, quite dense Mopani. So, my thinking is maybe that this kind of environment is good in some ways and bad in others. Good that perhaps with the thicker vegetation, that very unique smell of the dogs is muffled somewhat, as would be the sound. So you've heard how vocal they can be, especially this time of morning when they're playing or feeding. So perhaps the thicker vegetation could help to muffle that and obviously hide their location a little bit. But likewise, they will be vulnerable to potentially dangerous predators like lion or hyena that might get whiffed of them further off and then sort of try and creep in and see what's going on. And so maybe those 1 or 2 that are dots around the periphery are just, acting as sort of lookouts, and will obviously stand up and bark or alarm call if there's something that the rest of the pack needs to be alerted to.
As the day winds down, Neil and Kane head out to meet up with the Pungwi pack, who are already on the move and in search for prey. It's not long before wildebeest are spotted and the hunt shifts up a gear. For the first time ever, we capture the Pungwi pups taking a lead role in a hunt. They can now be considered full contributing members of the pack's hunting party. The herd splits, and the dogs manage to successfully separate an adult and two youngsters. Corners the young wildebeest and quickly subdues the animal. A substantial meal for Pungwi tonight.
Wow, okay, another amazing evening with the dogs. We're with Pungwi pack tonight, and they've decided they're going to hunt wildebeest now. Up till this point, we've predominantly seen them hunting and making kills on impala, but today they've decided they're going to up their game a little bit, and they're going for wildebeest now, and with great success. They managed to separate two youngsters from the herd, and they actually managed to catch up to the youngster at one point and pin him down, but the two of the adults from the wildebeest came back, charged the dogs. I actually saw one dog on the ground at one point who hopefully is okay, but yeah, I mean, once they catch up to the herd and they've separated a youngster like that, it's normally tickets for that young wildebeest. So the dogs have to eat, and they've got a good meal which will last them at least until tomorrow. They won't have to hunt again. And some incredible footage. Wow, high speed action tonight. It's very noticeable now that the pups have matured and grown up, and they're now reached adult status, because what we often used to see in the beginning, and what we've been seeing with the Splinters puppies, is that they always have preferential treatment, and they always have the first go at the carcass once they're there. Any puppies that arrive, the adults leave it, and the puppies are the priority. That's not the case now at all. They feed as a pack now, and it's kind of first come, first serve, and whoever can eat their fill in the quickest time does so. And if you don't get a look in, well, that's tough luck for you, I'm afraid. So another unbelievable evening for us with the dogs, and yet another successful hunt and a successful kill. They're all going to sleep well tonight, so will we. We're pretty exhausted from that long chase. I guess we'll just leave the dogs and their usual dinner guests, the jackals, to finish off this carcass, and we'll link up with them again tomorrow.
The Salve Valley Conservancy is as magnificent as it is vast, providing countless different landscapes and habitats for so many special species of flora and fauna to flourish and succeed. The growth of the wild dog population here, as well as many other endangered species, is a great testament to conservation in Africa. In the north of the Conservancy, Rosemary is on her way to try and attempt to put a collar on Splinter's pack in order to track their movements.
Okay, we've located the dogs this morning. It's really nice and early, so it's still cool. They're about 1 kilometre ahead of us. And so we're going to try and get a collar on. It's a perfect time for it. I haven't yet seen the pack. Ruben found them this morning. But assuming that they're in an accessible location, then conditions look good for trying to get a collar on. All right, wish us luck. Okay, Michaela, dart in.
Yep, copy.
Okay, so the dart's in. The dog's showing signs. We're just going to give him 4 or 5 minutes to go down completely before we approach.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, that's better. Right, Ruben, please find the thermometer. I don't know if it's back there or there. This is a satellite collar. This is one of the biggest males in the pack, and we only put these slightly bigger collars on the big males, so it's great to have had that opportunity, and it's going to give us fantastic information about where the pack is moving.
With 2 dogs successfully sedated and the situation under control, the team fit both with tracking collars.
So the reason we're taking blood is so that we can use it for various genetic analyses, also blood parasite levels, and disease screening of various things, including rabies, canine distemper, even previous exposure to those diseases. So his teeth are in very good condition. He's a fully grown man. He's actually a really nice big dog, but his teeth are still in really good condition. Okay, we've just got some ice packs here to keep him cool. Temperature's okay, but even though it's only about 7:30 in the morning, it's still quite warm, so just cooling. So I'm just doing some measurements here. So girth 64. This guy's been down nearly an hour. He's not yet showing any signs of independent movement, but as soon as he does, as soon as he flicks an ear or a tail, which we'd expect to be fairly soon, indicating that the ketamine has worn off, then we'll give him an antidote to reverse the midatomidine, which is a sedative, and then he should have a very, or as good as possible, kind of relaxed wake up from this immobilization event. So I'm just going to prepare that now. And I'm also going to give him a jab of penicillin. It's just sort of standard practice. You know, we did create a small penetration wound with the dart, and even though he's most likely not going to suffer any ill effects from that whatsoever, we just give a small shot of long-acting penicillin.
Rosemary notices the first signs of independent movement and administers the sedative reversal drug.
I do it all into the muscle. Some people do it half into the vein, half into the muscle. I find they get up way too quickly if you do that. And then they've still got a bit of ketamine in their legs, and it's not such a smooth recovery. So although it means we wait a little bit longer, seems better for the dog if it's all intramuscular. Okay, so we'll just back off and I'll move the kit away. Guys, can we clear the kit?
With 2 dogs successfully collared, AWCF are now able to easily monitor the movements of the pack.
Oh, that's a really nice recovery. She did well. He did well.
Fitting the tracking collars to young males can be beneficial, as they may at some point split off from their natal pack. Monitoring the dispersing males will allow the AWCF team to discover newly formed packs in and around the conservancy. Back at the AWCF headquarters, Jess and Neil get together to discuss some of the hunting patterns Neil has noted while filming the series.
Okay, so we're at the Wild Dog HQ today. We've brought some of our findings, some of the footage that we've recorded of the dogs hunting to show Jess and just get her opinion and see what she thinks. So Jess, one of the first clips that we're going to show you here is a hunt of punguis, a successful hunt where they managed to take down an impala, and I'll just frame through it slowly so you can, just have a look and see, the tactics and the way the dogs work.
Yeah.
You can see the impala coming in there. It actually jumps right over one of the dogs' backs. At this stage of the hunt, would you say that the dogs are communicating with each other, or?
From what I've seen and, from what I've watched as well, look, the dogs I think they're incredibly opportunistic, and they're obviously very agile and successful hunters. I think there are 1 or 2 key leaders that can often instigate it, and the rest of the pack will follow.
As soon as something runs, it becomes prey, and they're onto it.
Yeah.
If we frame a bit further through, here's a launch by one of the dogs, actually almost onto the impala's back, but he manages to get away.
Got it by its tail,
got
back
it
leg.
By the back leg.
Yeah.
And the other dogs were moving in to try and block its escape.
Yeah.
And then very interestingly here.
Yeah, you see,
that's the interesting part.
Yeah. So that's, when you read any literature and stories and things of wild dog hunting stories, they always say, and a lot of people believe it, that's what dogs do, that they get hold of their prey, and a lot of the time they will just start disemboweling it and eating it alive. But they also do very much use that typical cat strangulation hold, and they can often suffocate their prey long before they start eating on it.
So this, for me, was one of the most interesting things that we managed to pick up, that dogs actually do go for the strangulation hold.
But is this the only time you saw them doing it, or
this is
I
think this is one of the only times we saw it so openly like
obviously,
this. Obviously, when you've got 10 to 12, 20 dogs,
it's hard to see exactly
where they all are.
Yeah.
But generally, the dogs know that the weak spot is in the belly, and that's normally how they kill the prey.
Yeah.
But from what we saw, I don't think I saw any animal suffer for probably more than about a minute. It was very fast, quick kill. The dogs seem to get a lot of bad publicity about being ruthless, brutal killers that sort of eat their prey alive. Look, this proves that they don't necessarily always do that. But what's more is that from what we noticed on all of the hunts that we were on, even big game like, sub-adult wildebeest, which is a big animal for the dogs to take down, the kills were very quick, very efficient. With that many dogs, most of the kills were over probably within a minute.
Yeah.
And I think for most of that minute, the animal's got so much adrenaline rushing through it,
Yeah, absolutely.
it more or less doesn't feel what's going on.
And often dogs they kill their prey a lot quicker than... I've seen a female lioness take down a wildebeest, and she did this normal suffocation, and it took easily 15, 20 minutes for the wildebeest to die.
And very often they'll actually eat their prey alive, very slowly, whereas the dogs don't eat slowly at all.
No.
They just munch. And the carcass is I say the kill probably takes less than a minute. The carcass is more or less stripped in probably 3 to 4 minutes.
Yes, exactly.
And you can hardly even tell what they're eating at that stage.
Yeah.
So, they are incredibly efficient at what they do, and incredible animals to watch. There's nothing like them.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Phenomenal. Well, anyway, we'll hopefully get a few more hunts, and we'll be able to show you a couple more and get your analysis.
Great. This is fantastic, because the dogs operate so quickly. To be able to catch the whole, sequence happening is really quite amazing to see. Yeah.
Well,
often you'll be on them and you'll be with them chasing, but you cannot keep up. They just go too quickly, and then by the time you get to them, the animal's down and it's a head left and
fat bellies.
and the spine. Exactly.
Well, anyway, hopefully you'll have a few more, and
great.
You guys will be able to study a bit more of how we'll learn a bit more about how these guys actually go about their business.
Yeah, and also interesting to see what other animals they select and take down.
That's
yeah.
for sure.
With very few full wild dog hunts caught on film, this material should prove to be very useful for any future research on wild dog hunting behaviour. Before the sun sets, Neil heads out with Kane to meet up with Splinter's pack in the east of the Conservancy to catch them on their evening hunt. Buffalo are spotted in the distance, and extraordinarily, the pack goes after the herd. This is a first. The pack catches up with a youngster lagging behind, but the herd turn to fend the dogs off. When threatened, older, more mature buffalo will flank out from the herd, hiding behind trees and bushes to ambush any unsuspecting adversaries following in their wake. High-risk hunting for both the dogs and the camera crew.
The buffalo is too big for these dogs. It's not for us.
The herd is too large and hyper-aggressive. The pack sensibly retreats and continues their hunt in the opposite direction. It's not long before the dogs clearly see something and begin alerting one another. This behavior is most often associated with the presence of another predator. Neil approaches cautiously in the fading light and catches a glance of a fleeting cheetah as it abandons a recently made kill. One cheetah is no match for 32 dogs. Phenomenally, yet another wild dog cheetah encounter.
Wow, what a phenomenal evening this evening. I'm quite blown away actually by everything we've seen. The Splinters pack seem to be breaking all the rules at the moment, having puppies at weird times of the year, and now they're hunting buffalo, it seems. Dogs are not known to hunt buffalo. They're far too big of a prey for wild dogs to take on. However, Kane did actually find them this morning feeding on a very young buffalo. So they've proved that they can do it, and obviously they're confident enough to take on a whole herd of buffalo. And as the hunt progressed, obviously they failed with the buffalo, and they carried on searching. It was probably about another 20 minutes before I heard the dogs making their warning call. The dogs were bouncing in the air, and as I approached in, I could see something in the bushes, and it was on a kill. So we gently moved in to see what it was, and it didn't seem too concerned at first, and then all of a sudden maybe it felt like the dogs were surrounding it, and it was outnumbered. It jumped up in the air, and it was a cheetah. The dogs, not being one to miss out on a free meal, jumped onto the carcass and finished it off in seconds. So we've proved two things today. Wild dogs will scavenge at times, even though they're not known to be scavengers, and they can take down buffalo. What an evening, what a night.
The next morning, using the newly fitted telemetry, Rosemary is able to track down the Splinters pack and make sure all is well with Tanganda and Bemba, the recently collared males.
Okay, so we've just come to the Splinters pack den. Yesterday we managed to put collars on two of the adult males, Tanganda and Bemba. The immobilizations went really well and they recovered really nicely, but we always check the following day that they've reunited with the pack, and that they're both doing well, no complications. So the pack's just come back and I can see both dogs. I've just seen them, so I think, yeah, they're clearly both there looking absolutely happy, integrated back into the pack. No obvious cause for concern whatsoever, which is what we would expect, but it's just always nice to confirm. So you can see that Bemba is a really big male. We wouldn't only ever fit those satellite collars onto big adult male dogs. They're not too heavy. They're definitely within ethical weight limits for dogs, but nonetheless they are quite big and bulky, and we've chosen Bemba specifically because he is the biggest adult male in the pack, and as you can see he's not impacted by it. Given that we've sort of recorded absolutely no negative impact of these collars, the value of the information we can get from the collars and the way we can use that information really far outweighs any potential negative impact. And I mean, things like if they go out of the conservancy, for example, we know that they're doing that, and we can go into those communities, talk to people about the dogs, make them aware that they're around, and advise them how to look after their livestock to prevent conflict, because the dogs do go outside, they do get into conflict with livestock farmers, and they do get killed. And if we can prevent that, because we've got a collar data telling us where they are so we can forewarn communities, then that's hugely valuable and is actually saving the pack. Likewise, if we notice they've picked up a number of snares, we can look at the information, where have they been, and we can target that area. We can send anti-poaching units into that area to do snare sweeps. Again, saving lives and hopefully preventing further injuries. It helps us in a huge number of ways. We can get better mortality data, we can find the dens much sooner, we can record the pup emergence, otherwise we may miss it if we can't locate the dogs. So tremendous benefit to having these collars on them. And another area where they can be very, very useful is if the dog that's wearing that collar disperses. And in some areas we focus our collaring particularly on males of the sort of 1.5 to 2 year old that are quite likely to disperse. And if a satellite collared dog does disperse, it's absolutely incredible. It provides such valuable data about the way they use the landscape when they're out of their protected areas. So the way they move through these human-dominated landscapes or between pockets of protected areas. And it's that sort of information it's hard to put a price on that, because all our work is about trying to ensure connectivity and safe dispersal for these dogs. And if we know what they're doing and how they're using the landscape, which we do from these collars, then we're way ahead of the game when we're trying to make effective corridors and connectivity areas. So huge value in having these collars on, and well worth it.
The telemetry collars are a huge asset to the AWCF Scout, as it allows them to monitor and track the pack's movements as efficiently as possible. Later that day, Neil and Kane are at it again. They've located Pungwi Pack in a good hunting area and meet up with the dogs who are already on the move. All of a sudden, the pack take off in a new direction, led by Jigsaw. They don't seem to be hunting, but the camera crew follow anyway. Jigsaw seems to be leading them to something. A kill. Extraordinarily, it seems as though Jigsaw at some point split from the pack and managed to kill an adult male impala, all by herself without any assistance. Once down, she relocated the pack and led them to the kill to share in her success. As the series winds to an end, Jess, Rosemary and Kane link up with Pungwi to discuss the Conservancy's resident packs, their actions over the last 6 months, and the future of wild dogs in the Save Valley.
So yeah, it's nearly denning season again, start of denning season actually for some packs, and we're starting to notice signs of pregnancy, which is really exciting. And if we think back to Pungwi, these guys over here, just last year they were a brand new pack. They didn't even exist, and then they had 15 pups, which is just amazing. Yeah. And it's a shame as well. I mean, it's kind of the usual thing, but they've only got 6 out of their 15 pups left, okay? Yes. Just 6, yeah. So that's the survival rate of, 40% to almost a year, which is lower than average. I think our average is what?
About 62%.
62% at the moment. So 40% is not bad for a first-time pack. It's not bad for, dogs that have, first of all, only just formed a pack, and also first-time alpha females. And 15 was a very big litter for them to cope with. So still having 6 is not too bad. Mm-mm. I wonder, it's going to be interesting to see. I think it's clearly Loop that's becoming the alpha female. We weren't sure at the beginning because there were 2 females that were both showed signs of pregnancy and both heavily lactating, and then they had this big litter. So we suspect maybe both of the females had pups. So we're pretty sure that Loop now is the alpha female. She's very much assuming the behaviour of the alpha female, but we're still not totally sure who the alpha male is because she's been behaving a bit oddly, hasn't she?
Yeah, so she's been seen pairing off with 3 of the males, so Ten and Benguela and Mask. So, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But we've been watching these sort of different episodes happen and obviously just closely monitoring, and we'll just try to pick up exactly what's going on there.
Yeah, it's just really exciting to think another denning season's about to start just around the corner. And I guess that's for all of them. Splinters, can you believe it? V, who's the alpha female that had pups last May, had pups again in December, is now pregnant again. So that just rounds it off. It wasn't, kind of really super early denning event or something. It was just this extra, insanely random denning event.
Kane, 100% that female.
100%. Pregnant.
So the same female, den May last year, den December. We've watched her in December. She still had 5 surviving pups from her first litter, produced another 10 pups. All 10 are still surviving, and she's she's pregnant again.
That pack at the moment is quite a force at 32 dogs.
Yeah, no, they're great.
Actually unbelievable.
17 adults, 4 big pups, and 10 little pups. Yeah. So they're a strong pack going into the denning season. If they have another litter of 10 or something, they're going to be great. They're going to reach the highest we've ever recorded in the Conservancy is 42. So
they're in the runnings.
They're in the runnings, yeah. Sure. And the alpha male of that pack is also slightly contentious at the moment because what's he called? Batman, who we thought it was, is missing at the moment. So Kane is saying that he saw the 3-legged dog, old Hopalong, mating V. So that could be an interesting turn up for the books if it's the 3-legged guy that's taking alpha male status. Will be very interesting to see.
Yeah.
But anyway, she's looking fairly fat, ready to den probably within the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, they always normally one of the earliest. They always, for the last 2 years, they've been the first den that we found of the season.
So Kane, obviously you've been doing a lot more, spending a lot more time with the dogs while they've been hunting.
Yes.
How's that been going? It's quite interesting. We don't unfortunately get the privilege of doing that very often. So Kane's been having a lot of interesting experiences. What's been going on?
Mostly when you're hunting with the pungwe, they spend their time hunting impalas. Impalas, yeah. But when most of the time when you're hunting with the splinters, they're catching up mostly on kudus, wildebeest.
Sure.
Yeah. If the splinters catch up on impala, they could kill 5 or 6.
Yo, don't tell the ranch.
Yeah, don't tell anyone else there.
Yeah, but I mean they're a big
They're
pack,
big
so that's good. Are they using, when they catch the kudu and wildebeest, are they all together rather
Yes.
than splitting up?
Yes.
Yeah, so using their numbers to catch bigger prey.
Yes.
That's really. You see, we spend our lives in the office doing the raising funds and all the admin that goes with these sort of projects, and Kane gets the good job. What happened?
The pungwe pack remains formidable, and with more pups on the way, will soon be a force to be reckoned with. Of the 15 pups pungwe started with, 5 have survived to adulthood: bandit, bluff, blackjack, chips and poker. In the subsequent denning season, amazingly, the 3 original females, Loop, Jigsaw and Bones, each gave birth to their own litter of puppies. A total of 19 pups to continue the pungwe legacy. With the series coming to an end, we look back on the incredible footage captured over the last few months and the unbelievable behaviour that's been witnessed. From the first emergence of the pungwe pups to the first takedown captured on film. Showcasing some amazing wild dog behaviour and spectacular hunting scenes.
Okay, all right, well, let's go.
Riding along, witnessing heart-stopping moments and breathtaking scenery. This series has been packed with adrenaline, exhilaration, and determination. AWCF continue to research and conserve the African wild dog.